Hello, Dr. Brandon.
Hello, Dr. Morgentaler.
So, what do you got?
Well, I have an article that I just noticed recently, but I think it was out very recently in the British Journal of Psychiatry. And the title is Warning: AI Chatbots Will Soon Dominate Psychotherapy.
Huh.
It's a huge, actually, a huge title. In terms of being dramatic, it's by one of the probably premier names in psychiatry in the world, Alan Francis, certainly in this country.
Before we start, a small disclaimer. The Sex Doctors podcast is not a substitute for medical or psychological advice.
But I do believe in the world. Um, up until this point, many of my colleagues have sort of been thinking that we were going to be able to skate through the AI thing because people will always prefer human therapists. That's what they like to say.
Right.
Now, I've been dealing in this kind of topic in general in AI for probably 8 years now, like very involved in it and very engaged in research and all of that. And personally, I've always felt we were all gonna be out of jobs, and, I don't think it's a matter of whether or not people will prefer
We're just to clarify, we're going to be out of jobs, meaning therapists, right?
therapists,
Psychotherapists.
but everybody. I mean, everybody's a big, big term, but I think AI is gonna really significantly impact people's job possibilities. It already has started. So we're already seeing like entry level positions in certain degrees, folks having a harder time getting jobs. So we're seeing that in like computer programming, for example, because now chatbots are doing the programming.
Right.
And really, in the last couple years, as chatbots have sort of taken quite a role in being friends and lovers to people, I think that we're really going to quickly see that translate into people feeling like they now have a portable therapist and they're not going to need a human one. So we're not seeing that yet, but I think it's just really in the cards here. It's really, the world is changing.
Yeah. I saw a video clip recently of Sam Altman, the lead for OpenAI, one of these LLMs, large language models, artificial intelligence guy. He's really at the cutting edge. And somebody asked him, he was giving a talk, and somebody from the audience asked him, what his fears were, what are things that he worries about.
Mhm.
And one of them that he worried about, that he talked about, which is a little subtle, was that people will become overly dependent on
Yeah, yeah,
Chat GPT or its equivalents, right?
right.
And he gave an example that there's some young folks who they already know today
Mhm,
are so tied in with this
mhm.
that they don't make any decisions on their own. They say, I just have to, before I make a decision,
Yep.
I have to check in with Chat GPT. It
Mhm,
knows me.
mhm,
It knows about my friends and my family,
mhm.
and it's going to tell me what the right thing is to do. And in that way, it's acting almost like, if not as a therapist, certainly as a
Life coach.
best friend, life
Yeah,
coach. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Now, we're not endorsing this concept here. We're not saying this is a good idea,
No.
but we are saying it's happening.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're not
Dr.
judging. We're
Francis
not
was not
judging yet.
saying this was a good idea, but
Yeah.
he was saying therapists need to be prepared because it's going to happen fairly soon. And kind of ignoring this, all of us just sort of ignoring that this is possible or that this is likely. I don't see how that helps anything. I think that people ignore it because it's so overwhelming a concept that we're all going to be out of work. Like we just our brains can't like really metabolize it,
Yeah.
and we have enough to worry about, frankly. So it's not like we have space to add worries in our heads.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was very impressed when you gave your talk at that Aspen
Oh, yeah.
lecture series,
Mhm.
and this was so cool. And you pulled out your phone, and was it Perplexity or
Yeah.
Chat
Mhm.
GPT? Perplexity, I think. And you were trying to show the audience real time
Yep.
what it was like.
Mhm.
And you spoke to it, and you gave some example of what would you say to somebody who is, I don't know, roughly a certain age, like some adult who's experiencing severe anxiety, I think it might have been.
Mhm.
And out comes this voice that was very pleasant
Yeah.
and gave a very calm, reassuring, guidance about how they would approach that person. They talk to you almost as if you were the person who had the anxiety.
Right.
Yeah. But it was very well done. It was compassionate.
The
It was
the chatbot
the
was.
chatbot was. It was
Yeah.
empathic.
Yep.
And I think everybody in the audience listening to you have that conversation, and there was some back and forth with it too. Everybody got the idea that, yeah, this could really be helpful. And that's
Yeah.
today. Forget about like 6 months or a year from now when
Correct.
they get even better.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are absolute limitations, and people like to focus on those. But I think your point is so well taken that the limitations that exist today, they're already working on smoothing those out.
Right.
So, again, I'm not proposing that this is a good idea, but it is what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think that the only way humanity can really prepare as best as possible is to talk about it. I think ignoring it is not going to set any of us up for success here as we go through this transition.
Yeah. So are your colleagues worried?
No, but I think now that I have this article, I really think people are going to start to listen listen to me. I mean, I've been giving continuing ed to therapists for I don't know 7 years now about these topics. And so frequently, I would hear back from people like, I'm not really interested in AI." I would hear that from professional associations when I would try to lecture for them.
Yeah.
Our people our psychologists are just not really oriented toward technology. Well, so that's not what this is about. It doesn't matter if you're
Right.
interested or not,
Yeah.
if you're oriented toward tech or not, it's
Yeah.
going to happen and it's happening to all of us. So that used to really frustrate me, but now that I have this article, like I'm I'm
No,
I'm going to be on fire.
no, yeah. Well, listen, I don't know how many people read articles. That's the
Yeah,
problem,
that's
right?
true too.
So, in my own field, you write an article, you could think it's the best thing since sliced bread,
Right. No,
and maybe 100 people will read it, and
that's
of
true.
those, they're just reading the abstract. They don't get the full feel for it.
Right.
But I understand that you feel more justified. But what I'm struck by is I know you lecture regularly to psychologists,
Yeah. And
psychotherapists,
therapists in general, you're right.
therapists in general,
Right.
and you're getting more and more
I am more interested.
traction, and they're interested.
Yeah.
I think for people of sort of a certain age, 50 and above, let's say, I think who may not be that up to date with what these chatbots are like.
Yeah.
There's, I think, this a misconception that these voices are robotic,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
That whatever they're going to give in terms of information is very stilted and
Right.
regimented,
Yeah.
and it's not. These voices have they sound like they got personalities.
For sure.
They pause, they hem, they
They
haw.
do. They breathe.
They sound like a person.
Yeah.
And their advantage in some way is that they're never tired.
Yeah, right. They're always
They're
available.
never irritable. They're not distracted by something that their kid is doing or whatever, or
Mhm.
right, or what's happening in their own relationship or their own life or what the doctor told them about their own health. They're just there. And they've been trained at the highest level of what humans
That's
can
right.
do.
So they've been trained in ways they've absorbed more than a human brain can in terms of how to do certain things. Now, I do want to say that this is much bigger than therapists losing their jobs. This is about like everybody losing their jobs. Now, again, everybody is a big term, but I just saw an article last week about the first robotic surgeon, a robot surgeon performing surgery without human assistance, and they did like a pancreatic surgery on a pig
Yeah.
successfully
Wow.
without a human involved. Now
Wow.
there was more than one AI involved, and there was they basically did it like a medical model where there was an AI like supervisor surgeon that was just a computer, and then there was an AI robotic resident who did the surgery just like it would happen in a medical center. Like the resident would do the surgery supervised by
Mm.
the surgeon that was.
Listen, it's bound to happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've got this. I don't know if I saw it somewhere, if I imagined this, but I have this idea that you make a little incision in the belly, for some abdominal surgery.
Hmm.
You put in a little gizmo that looks like a Hot Wheels car, right? But it's a robotic thing. You just put
Yeah.
in the belly, and it'll go zip, 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 zip,
Right.
zip, and it'll do whatever it needs to do. And next thing you know, the person's all set. Like something like that is going to happen eventually, but that's further down the road because
Right.
it involves manual stuff.
That's right. So what is going to be first hit are any kind of job that a chatbot could actually function and do pretty well, like computer programming, like offer like
Listen,
counseling.
so listen, I get contracts and agreements for
Yeah, like
conferences and things
lawyers.
like that.
Right, right.
And, I can handle relatively straightforward documents
Yep.
like agreements. When I started doing this work, I was very nervous and I actually would get an attorney to read some of these.
Yeah.
But now I get these things and I put it through. I don't want Perplexity happens to be the one I'm using these days, although ChatGPT 5 looks like it's getting better. Who knows? Maybe that'll be the next.
Yeah.
But I put it through, it summarizes what it says.
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with it about what are my vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
How could I improve
Hmm.
this contract so it's more favorable to me or not as risky? And it gives it to you like boom, 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 one,
Right.
two, three.
And you don't even have to pay for a subscription to have like a really impressive level of feedback from these models.
Right.
When I went,
Some of them are, just to be clear for our listeners who may not be that savvy. So there's usually a free version of many of these programs. Some of them, if you want deeper research or if you're doing many searches, you can pay, I think it's $20 a month
right.
for some of them. But you can, if you want to just dabble, you can probably get some of these for free.
Hmm. Now, people that I'm close to, I have these conversations a lot in my personal life because it's so shocking to me all the time. So
Right,
I'm always talking about what I'm reading. And the parents will say, my kid's going to college. Like, how do I advise them? Now, that's like the $1 million question right
right.
there. And I was at a Harvard course last year that was really primarily around folks who are in the AI fields and initiating a lot of these kinds of really major shifts within industries. Um, and I asked as many people as I could at that conference, like, what do you tell your kid, or if you had a kid going to college, what would you have them do? Do you know they all said to me they didn't know? Now, this was so
They
shocking.
didn't know how to advise their kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, these were the people that were premier in the field. They'd been in the
yeah,
field forever. They didn't know. One woman said to me, what I tell my child is just work, do anything, because chances are it's going to be different in just a few years.
yeah.
But you want to have skills, just, being with people, being flexible. You want a resume, and it's less important what's on there as long as you're working. That's what she told her. I don't know if it's son or daughter. But this is really surprising to me that we're not talking about the fact that, like, what are they going to do in universities when becoming a psychologist isn't going to get you a job? There are psychology departments all over the country. What are they going to do? Are they going to ignore this so that they still get people coming in and they can give degrees? Because they're going to be out of a lot of money when people realize they're going to be paying a lot for school and they've got nothing to do afterward.
Yeah. It's hard to know what's going to happen. So this is clearly, we're in the middle right now of a huge revolution. I mean, this is a technological revolution, probably similar to, I don't know, like the engine, right? The internal combustion engine with the car
Yeah.
and the industrial revolution, and like things are changing a lot, and old occupations became useless. And that's going to happen here too. What we don't know is what are the new possibilities.
Right. And so, one of my favorite authors, Noah Yuval Harari, isn't that how I say
Yeah, Harari. Yeah,
Harari? Love,
I call him your
love.
boyfriend.
I
You
know.
love him so
We
hard.
call him my.
You love this guy so
So I don't
much.
know how to say his name because in my house we refer to him as my boyfriend. Now he's gay and he's
Harari.
got a husband, and I don't really think he's interested, but nonetheless, he is my boyfriend here.
Yeah,
So anyway, my boyfriend
yeah,
says you can't make those comparisons between like revolutions of the past and AI today because in none of those revolutions in the past was the technology smarter than us.
oh yeah. Well, with all due deference to your boyfriend, I'm going to continue to make the analogy
Okay.
because I think it still holds. So listen, I'm not. There may be some qualitative and quantitative differences, but what is true regardless is there's going to be a big shift in how work in society
Yeah,
happens.
right.
And there must be opportunities that are going to come from this. Somebody has to, I don't know, do something with the AI. I don't know. The, but there's going to be new opportunities. We just don't know what they look like.
Okay. Okay.
But clearly, there's going to be some fields like that are going to need far fewer people. I don't need an attorney as much as I did before.
Right.
Um, but I'm working, let's say, right now, like with a colleague on a patent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need a patent attorney. There's still something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
They speak the language. They know how it works. There's somebody, a human being on the other end,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you have to convince and talk to. Maybe that'll eventually disappear too. So you'll need some attorneys, but probably not as many.
For sure.
Do you need doctors?
Some, but not as many.
There's some evidence that AI now may be better at diagnosing whatever it is that's ailing you than
Right.
human
They had
doctors.
that study of radiologists, and AI
Radiologist.
outperformed them on
Yeah.
identifying cancerous cells and
Yeah.
tumors and stuff. I mean, I see these individual studies all over the place. Now, it's true that the technology in each of these areas isn't ready for prime time, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be within a
Right.
decade.
Right. Like copy editor, somebody who's going to check your
Right. Who
writing.
needs that?
No, it's already done.
Right.
That's pre-done.
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
one of my worries is that, we get a lot of our sense of purpose uh, out of work.
for sure.
And if people and just the basic structure that work provides us is helpful for people and our mental health. We sort of have a plan for the day and we know how it's going to go, and it keeps us kind of on our toes and moving forward. All of this could potentially, at least for a significant number of people in the population, be gone. And so, how are they going to feel a sense of purpose? Where are they going to feel?
If they don't have work.
Right.
Yeah, that's always been the question. The only thing that gives me pause around this is that, with the assembly, what's it called? With automated work, like for cars.
Uh huh.
What's the word? Help me with my senior
I don't know.
moment
I'm
here,
having the
with
same.
basically automation,
Okay.
right? People thought, oh, people are going to be out of work. There's going to be a huge unemployment. Well, it didn't happen. People shifted into other
Yeah, but
into other
my
jobs.
boyfriend says you can't say that
Ah,
because this is a whole different animal.
yeah,
It's like a different species.
yeah, could be, but yet to be proven to me.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
so we'll see. I think it's happening really quick.
but the
So,
shift is happening. Here's the good news.
okay.
The good news is that you're going to be employed, telling everybody about what all these
How they're about
change.
to lose their jobs. Yeah,
Well, you're going to be telling people what the latest and greatest
that's
is and
true.
how it's going to change
Well, I
things.
am absolutely, I hate to say it, but it could be 2 hours a day staying on top of this stuff.
Oh,
I mean, it's an extraordinary amount of data that comes
yeah,
out every day around this.
yeah, yeah. Well, we have to have this conversation again because I bet 6 months, a year from now,
Oh, it'd be
we
different.
may be in a completely different
I
place
think
already.
that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, therapists out there, I'm sorry, but your expiration date's coming up, I
Well,
think.
can I say to the therapists out there that Dr. Francis suggests that we refocus our work on those kinds of activities that AI can't do well, like work with seriously mentally ill folks or suicidal folks, or people with eating disorders.
Yeah.
So there are certain areas within the field of mental health that AI is really far from grasping well. And so, at least in this transition time, that's where we need to refocus.
Yeah. I have one other thought.
What?
Much of my training, I would say, was wrong.
Mm.
One of my part of my training, and I got this in psychiatry, by the way,
Oh,
rotating through, was and it was all through medical training, was the physician or the healthcare provider was not supposed to reveal anything about themselves in an interaction.
mhm.
And it's the biggest load of crock ever. It's
Yeah.
so terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
And I say it's terrible because both in my own experience as a patient of dog, just going to see somebody,
Hmm.
and as a provider, was that the best connections happened when I shared something about
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So there is a human connection that I don't think that a chatbot without a physical body and life experience may not. I'm not sure they're going to be able to share that, and they may be able to make it up.
They'll make it up.
Yeah,
They
but
do. They make it up.
yeah, but I don't know how believable it's going to be.
Well, some people, younger
But
people.
what I was going to say is that I think that there's room then for therapists
Mhm.
and other people in similar kinds of work, life coaches, counselors, etc., that often their own life experiences can be a shining example to others, and to not be shy about sharing that. That's what distinguishes human beings from chatbots.
So I want to agree with you, and I'm not gonna.
We'll go with that feeling then.
We're.
If you want to, don't stop yourself.
I'm having a conflict between my heart and my brain, and the research I've read already that would cause me to argue your point. But I like your point.
Oh,
I do.
don't patronize me.
I'll go with your point for now. How's that?
No. So I think it's going to change, but I think
Yeah.
if somebody had to focus on something they could do now for the next several years that would enhance their value
Mhm.
versus that of a chatbot, it's about your humanness.
Okay, I like that. Actually, that's very heartwarming.
Ah, good.
Yeah. So
Well, Dr. Brandon,
yes, Dr. Morgentaler,
thus ends another episode of
the sex
The
doctors.
Sex Doctors. And I hope you had a good time listening to us. If you want to follow us and make sure you don't lose any of our content or miss any of our episodes, go to thesexdoctorspodcast.com. That's our website. You can find all our episodes there, and you can find us pretty much anywhere else, Spotify, Apple, etc. And we hope to see you again.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up, tell a friend, and we'll see you again for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.